Here with me now to explore the latest trends in marketing, storytelling and digital culture is Mike Jones from NativeVML. Good to have you with us in the studio. Let's touch on this report, an interesting one, which clearly has a lot of separate insights, but maybe if you can give us an overview for the moment as to what the key takeaways are.
Sure. I think the common thread amongst all of the trends is quite clear. And that common thread is that marketing, technology and data are combining to provide users and companies opportunities to have fantastic experiences beyond the traditional marketing space.
Tell us, especially on the marketing front, I know you had insights onto a Magnum campaign,
Yes.
as well as the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yes.
Who can forget that?
Sure. I think the Ice Bucket Challenge comes from a trend around marketing at the speed of culture, and I think with culture and with technology, the speed at which it happens, you have to be very on board with what's going on. I think the ALS was about that, but it was also a great storytelling opportunity that brand picked up on.
With regard to this, what does this tell us about the market then, how marketing is changing, or the idea of storytelling?
I think marketing is changing in a very interesting way. I think it's coming from a consumer revolution that's being led by a digital revolution. I think because of the way that technology is appearing in our society and leading us to different experiences, I think that we've got to look at businesses and see what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong. And I think that if we look at this consumer revolution, we have to put the consumer first. We can't put business first. We have to be consumer-centric. And what's interesting about that is you start thinking about business transformation. And I think business transformation happens from different integration points. You can either get horizontal or vertical, and I think what digital is allowing us is more functional integration. And I think businesses have to look at marketing to gather the insights, to lead the conversations, because they are at the forefront and they know their consumer better than anyone else. So traditionally it was always kind of marketing got the smallest budget, but I think that it needs to turn around and it needs to be about what the marketing division can do and how the marketing division can turn around the business and lead it to transformation to fit the consumer revolution.
For a CEO who might be listening to this conversation and be alarmed at the results that you've revealed from this particular study, how do you change their mindset, especially for big organizations who are fairly stuck in their ways and believe that what they've always done has always worked for them?
You know, I think it's about a relationship, and I think that what you've got to get right is you've got to get IT starting to talk to marketing. I think without the joint efforts and the joint relationship between those two divisions, you can't do anything. So I think before you try and land an innovation or try and, you know, wow your consumer with digital products, you've really got to try and get the relationship between IT and marketing working together. And I think that marketing has its pros and IT has its pros, and you've got to identify those different strengths and weaknesses at the same time and get them to start working together and provide insightful experiences for your consumer.
From a South African perspective, who's getting it right? Feel free to name drop.
Look, I think that you know, there's a lot of good applications that have been landed in the market. I think the banks are doing quite a good job from a transactional perspective. But I think that there's a long way to go. I think there's a long maturity cycle to take. I think we've also can't jump ahead of the curve. We've got to wait for our consumers to be ready for this. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be getting everything in place and working it out. And I think that, you know, Magnum was one of the only South African examples that we used. And that was really about creating an experience, telling a story, telling a fantastic story. Although it didn't have a lot of digital touch points, it did tell the story in a fantastic way that wasn't a billboard or a TV ad.
So from a South African perspective, we obviously trailing our international peers then?
Yeah, and I think this report did focus on more international trends, but I definitely think that we can start using all of the trends from innovation to marketing at the speed of culture to storytelling to our benefit. Now we just have to make sure from a digital perspective to ensure that the consumer is ready for what we land.
I'm not too sure if this is the first report that you've compiled, but if it isn't, what has the trend been over the last couple of years, and what's the outlook going
So
forward?
we started a very exciting project around a mobile report because we are a South African company and because the African continent is mainly mobile. We started with a mobile report, and that was very heavily looking at consumer behavior, looking at demographic behavior, looking at tech behavior. And what we found is that although it was a fantastic report and it had a wealth of insights, we weren't too sure if it was actually working because we weren't seeing people take up the reports itself. So it evolved, and it evolved into a trends report whereby where we are looking at different parts of marketing, different parts of digital, and putting them together to try and provide a holistic picture. Because I think in the beginning you were getting trend reports that were digital marketing, trend reports that were mobile, trend reports that were social media. I think what we've been able to do is we've been able to combine it all and provide a holistic examples that are not only about marketing but also about business transformation.
Exactly. Mike, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time today. I think you've shaken up a lot of marketers and CEOs who might be watching the show today. Thanks once more to Mike Jones, who's a strategist at NativeVML.